Hello there, very good evening and welcome to the news tonight, your one stop for the day's top stories. I'm Tracy Shilshi and here are the headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi campaigns for the BJP in poll-bound Himachal Pradesh, criticizes the Congress for its failure to implement promises of acting tough on corruption. Death toll in the NTPC boiler blast touches 30. Over 100 are injured as probe starts into security lapses at the plant. Prime Minister and Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister announced compensation for the victims. BSF Jawan martyred in firing by Pakistani Rangers at a patrol party along the international border in Jammu and Kashmir's Samba district. 5 CRPF personnel are injured in Anantnag district. Vice President Venkaiah Naidu meets Bhutan's King Jigme in New Delhi, calls diplomatic relations between India and Bhutan strong and trustworthy. And Prime Minister Modi calls US President Donald Trump to offer his condolences on the recent New York terror attack. Both leaders pledged to fight against terrorism together. Our top story: with exactly a week to go for the Himachal Pradesh polls, campaigning in the state has intensified. Prime Minister Modi addressed 2 rallies in the poll-bound state on Thursday. He attacked the ruling Congress government in Himachal, saying that Chief Minister Veerbhadra Singh was talking of action against corruption when he himself was out on bail in a corruption case.
Campaigning for the BJP in poll-bound Himachal Pradesh, Prime Minister Narendra Modi launched a scathing attack on the ruling Congress party. Modi said the Congress has become a laughing club for promising to act tough on corruption at a time when one of its chief ministers is facing graft charges.
कांग्रेस पार्टी चुनाव मैनिफेस्टो में ये लिखे और स्वयं मुख्यमंत्री जी जो जमानत पे हैं, भ्रष्टाचार पर केस चल रहा है, गंभीर आरोप लगे हैं, उसके बावजूद भी कल टीवी मीडिया के सामने आकर के अपने मैनिफेस्टो दिखा रहे हैं और मैनिफेस्टो में कह रहे हैं कि कांग्रेस की सरकार हिमाचल में बनेगी तो करप्शन पर जीरो टॉलरेंस होगा. हिमाचल के
Addressing a rally in Kangra district, the Prime Minister said that state after state had rejected the Congress, indicating that it was time for Himachal to do the same.
देवभूमि में ये दूसरी दानवीय प्रवृत्ति है. वन माफिया, एक खनन माफिया, दूसरा वन माफिया. एक भू संपदा को लूटता है, दूसरा वन संपदा को लूटता है. तीसरा माफिया जो आपके घर में आकर के आपके भविष्य को लूटता है, आपके सपनों को लूटता है, आपके संस्कारों को लूटता है. और वो है हमारी युवा पीढ़ी को तबाह करने वाले, हमारी युवा पीढ़ी को बर्बाद करने वाले ड्रग माफिया.
The Prime Minister also targeted Congress Vice President Rahul Gandhi for meeting the Chinese ambassador during the standoff in Doklam earlier this year.
भारत की संसद में 12-15 साल से बैठा हुआ कोई व्यक्ति जिसके परिवार के लोग पिता प्रधानमंत्री रहे हो, दादी प्रधानमंत्री रही हो, नाना प्रधानमंत्री रहे हो, जन्म से जिनको राज परिवार में पलने बढ़ने का अवसर मिला हो, वो देश पे भरोसा न करे, सरकार पे भरोसा न करे, सेना पे भरोसा न करे, और चीन के राजदूत से मिलकर के पूछें कि डोकलाम में क्या चल रहा है.
In his speech, the Prime Minister also sought to strike a chord with women voters and families of defence personnel. Voting for 68 assembly seats in Himachal Pradesh will take place on the 9th of November. Votes will be counted on the 18th of December. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
The Rajya Sabha Secretariat Club organised a cultural event today. The event was attended by Vice President Venkaiah Naidu and Secretary General Desh Deepak Verma, among other officers of the Secretariat. The cultural evening also saw an enchanting performance by folk singer Malini Awasthi.
किसी परिचय की मोहताज मालिनी अवस्थी नहीं है, इसलिए मैं सीधे उनका स्वागत करना चाहूंगी पद्मश्री मालिनी अवस्थी जी. गावहु बधाई
Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu attended a cultural program at the Rajya Sabha Secretariat Club in the Parliament premises. Folk singer Malini Awasthi's mesmerizing performance at the event left the audience spellbound. Speaking at the event, Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu underscored the need to preserve our cultural heritage.
राम राज्य माने कोई मजहब का राज्य नहीं है. राम जी भारतीय संस्कृति का एक प्रतीक है. Is a cultural identity of this nation. We should all feel proud, and we should not get into this religious things and all. That you will continue to contribute.
Vice President Naidu explained the importance of the upper house of Parliament on the occasion.
Let us make an assessment of the areas where improvement can be made, both in terms of functioning of the House and Secretariat. Identify the areas which will require focused attention. I am sure with the support and cooperation of all of you, we will find enduring solutions to all our concerns.
Rajya Sabha Secretary General Desh Deepak Verma also addressed the officers and workers of the Secretariat at the event.
We have the glimpse of your vision of what the Rajya Sabha Secretariat and the Rajya Sabha should do. I assure you, sir, that this Secretariat, with its very good set of officers and the employees, will always be in the forefront to assist you in your vision.
The Rajya Sabha Secretariat promotes cultural pursuits through such events and competitions every year. Navvikram Singh's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
In other news, on day 3 of his 4-day visit to India, Bhutan's King Jigme Khesar Namgyel Wangchuk met with Vice President Venkaiah Naidu at Hotel Taj Diplomatic Enclave in New Delhi. Foreign Secretary S. Jaishankar and Bhutan's king, the Bhutanese king's family was also present during the meeting. The two leaders discussed issues of mutual interest. Vice President Naidu said that diplomatic relations between India and Bhutan are strong and trustworthy. He also said that cooperation between the two nations in the hydroelectric sector is crucial. He added that both the countries have similar border security concerns. Finance Minister Arun Jaitley had also called on the King of Bhutan today. Meanwhile, Defence Minister Nirmala Sitharaman also called on the King. On Wednesday, the Bhutanese King met Prime Minister Narendra Modi. They reaffirmed their commitment to advance relations between the two countries across diverse sectors of cooperation. The King also conveyed appreciation for the support that India provides to Bhutan's socio-economic development. A BSF Jawan was killed in fighting by Pakistani Rangers in Jammu and Kashmir's Samba district this morning. The Rangers attacked a BSF patrol party along the international border around 9:30 in the morning, firing indiscriminately at the Jawans. Indian troops guarding the border retaliated and the exchange of fire lasted for a while. Constable Tapan Mondal was martyred in the attack. In another attack, terrorists targeted a CRPF vehicle this morning in Anantnag district in Jammu and Kashmir. Terrorists opened fire on the vehicle of the 96th Battalion CRPF at Lazibal in Anantnag district. 5 Jawans were injured in the attack. 3 CRPF Jawans received bullet injuries while 2 others were injured after getting hit by broken glass panes of the vehicle. The injured personnel were hospitalized. An operation was launched to track down the assailants. "30 people have been killed and 100 injured in a boiler blast at the National Thermal Power Plant in UP's Rai Bareli district on Wednesday. Power Minister R.K. Singh and Congress Vice President Rahul Gandhi visited the plant, even as NTPC ordered a probe into the matter. Prime Minister Modi and the state government have announced compensation to the families of the victims. Here's a complete report.
सर 90 मीटर पर थे सर, अचानक पूरा बॉयलर हिलने लगा, उसके बाद काफ़ी तेज से दगा हो, पूरा गैस फट गई सर, पूरा अंधेला छा गया सर, गिर पड़े।
12:30 बजे ट्रिप किया बॉयलर, ठीक है, बॉयलर ट्रिप जब किया तो बॉयलर बंद हो गया, फिर 3 बजे के बाद में बॉयलर जब चालू हुआ तो एक में ब्लास्ट हो गया, ठीक है। मेरे 2 आदमी मेरे मतलब क्या नाम है साथी जो जिस रूम में रहते हैं उस रूम में 2 साथी मतलब डेड कर गए हैं।
The massive explosion in a boiler at the state-run power giant NTPC's Uncha Har on Wednesday has raised several questions on security lapses by NTPC. A probe into the accident has been initiated. Raebareli District Magistrate Sanjay Kumar said rescue operations by the NDRF were at a war footing.
एक मजिस्ट्रेट और एक टेक्निकल ऑफिसर का टीम बना लिया है जो इस पे मजिस्ट्रियल जांच करे। और रेस्क्यू ऑपरेशन रात में एनडीआरएफ के द्वारा किया गया था, तो रात में किसी तरह का कैजुअल्टी नहीं मिला और मॉर्निंग आवर्स से ही हमारी 35 लोगों की एनडीआरएफ की टीम वहां पर रेस्क्यू ऑपरेशन कर रही है, तो संभावना नगण्य है कि वहां कोई कैजुअल्टी हो।
पेशेंट हमको ज़्यादा सीरियस लगा, हमने उसको लखनऊ शिफ्ट कर दिया, रेफर कर दिया। उसमें से अधिकतर पेशेंट रेफर हुए हैं क्योंकि जितने भी पेशेंट आए थे ज़्यादातर 80-90% लोग जले हुए थे और 50-60% से ऊपर जब कोई जल जाता है तो उसमें बचने की संभावनाएं कम हो जाती हैं।
Prime Minister Narendra Modi expressed condolences to the families of the victims and said the situation is being monitored. Both Prime Minister Modi and Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath announced compensation to the next of the kin of the deceased and the injured. Power Minister R.K. Singh and Deputy Chief Minister Dinesh Sharma inspected the NTPC plant and met the injured persons in the hospital.
तो डिटेल्ड इन्वेस्टिगेशन करने की जरूरत है। तो डिटेल्ड इन्वेस्टिगेशन करने के लिए हम लोगों ने एक समिति बनाई है। हमारे एग्जीक्यूटिव डायरेक्टर हैं जो कि डायरेक्टर के लिए चयनित हैं, मिस्टर रॉय, वो इसको हेड करेंगे, वो भी थे उस समय। और डिटेल में हम लोग जाएंगे कि क्यों हुआ और किस कारण से हुआ और इससे हम लोग क्या क्या सबक ले सकते हैं भविष्य में।
हद से विभत्स दर्दनाक घटना है। कारण क्या थे क्या नहीं थे, ये एनटीपीसी की टीम आई हुई है और वो अंतिम अपने निष्कर्ष पे पहुंचेगी निरीक्षण के बाद। अभी सरकार की प्राथमिकता ये है कि घायलों का समुचित उपचार हो, मृतक आश्रितों को ज्यादा से ज्यादा हम सहायता पहुंचा के उनके दुख में सहभागी बन सकें। रायबरेली में
Congress Vice President Rahul Gandhi also visited the district hospital and NTPC premises and inquired about the incident from the officers present. He was accompanied by senior party leader Ghulam Nabi Azad and Congress State President Raj Babbar.
अब ये सब जो स्थानीय लोग हैं, स्थानीय लोग चाहे वो कोई भी सिंपल लोग हैं, मजदूर हैं, दूसरे लोग हैं या जिनके परिवार का कोई न कोई आदमी मारा गया है या अभी जख्मी है, वो सब कहते हैं कि अभी ये तैयार पूरी तरह से नहीं हो। और हम भी देखते हैं कि अभी तो आधा ही बना है और बीच में ही इसका प्लांट को शुरू कर दिया है, कमीशन किया गया है, तो कहीं न कहीं तो कमी है, कहीं कमी है।
The NTPC released a public notice stating that a sudden abnormal sound was heard at the unit at around 3:30 p.m. on Wednesday. The blast hit a 500 megawatt unit that has been operating since April this year. 3 other units with a combined capacity of 630 megawatts are still functional. The 1,550 megawatt plant in Uncha Har supplies electricity to 9 states, generates around 640 megawatt electricity and employs 870 people. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV. Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu inaugurated the Aero Expo on Thursday. The Vice President said that the most crucial aspects in the aviation industry that need special attention are safety and security. He stressed that there cannot be any compromise on these 2 counts and the most stringent norms have to be adopted for ensuring safe and secure air travel.
Inaugurating the second Aero Expo India 2017, Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu termed the aviation sector the backbone of the global transport system. He noted that global statistics over the last 5 years show a decrease both in the number of accidents as well as the accident rate. The Vice President, however, cautioned that there cannot be any complacency and safety should remain the topmost priority of aviation authorities and experts.
In 2016, the downward trend continued with 75 accidents reported, representing an 18% decrease from 15. But it's no matter of satisfaction. We should drastically bring down, and we should see to it there are no accidents at all.
Vice President Naidu also asserted that with increasing disposable income and a growing middle class, air travel will see a further spurt. Hailing the Udan scheme for regional connectivity, he underscored the need for developing no-frills and greenfield airports, augmenting existing capacities and creating synergy between scheduled and non-scheduled airlines.
Augmenting existing capacities, creating synergy between scheduled and non-scheduled airlines for better penetration and connectivity through collaborative efforts of the state and central government is needed.
India became the world's fastest growing domestic travel market for the 22nd time in a row, recording a 26.6% year-on-year growth in January 2017. India is witnessing a high growth trajectory and is set to become the third largest aviation market in the world in terms of passenger by 2026. It also replaced Japan to become the largest domestic aviation market globally. Domestic traffic in India is growing at around 20% annually, while international traffic is increasing at 10%. The Indian aviation sector provides direct employment to more than 2 lakh people and lakhs of indirect jobs. The economic survey of 2016-17 called civil aviation in India a potential sunrise sector for growth and employment generation. Reporting from Delhi with camera person Anirban, I'm Kruti Mishra for Rajya Sabha Television.
And here's a look at what else made news across the country today in Nationwide. A BJP rally in pole-bound Karnataka that was flagged off by party chief Amit Shah caused the city's traffic to be held up for over 3 hours. He claimed that Siddaramaiah-led Congress government in Karnataka was the most corrupt in the country. Shah alleged that the funds released by the central government to the state were not reaching the people they were intended to benefit. At least 13 Tamil Nadu fishermen have been arrested by the Sri Lankan Navy. The fishermen from Rameshwaram and Pudukkottai district have been arrested on charges of poaching fish with banned fishing nets in the exclusive zone of Sri Lanka. The Lankan naval personnel also seized 3 mechanized boats and took them to the Kangisanturai port. A group of 900 Sikh pilgrims today left for Pakistan from Amritsar to celebrate the birth anniversary of Guru Nanak, the founder of Sikhism. The pilgrims will mark Guru Nanak's 548th birth anniversary on Saturday, the 4th of November at Nankana Sahib, his birthplace in Pakistan's Punjab province. Before heading out on the pilgrimage, the pilgrims offered prayers at Golden Temple, Sikhism's holiest shrine. A low-pressure area has formed over Sri Lanka and southwest Bay of Bengal, and it will bring moderate rain over most places in southern Tamil Nadu and few places in northern coastal districts. Fishermen venturing into the sea have been advised to be cautious. A quick break here. Up next, we'll get you the top international stories.
Hello and welcome to Security Scan. Gophers ghost continue to haunt the Indian Armed Forces, especially Indian Army.
We don't have the defense industrial base. We have never let it grow, never let it develop.
DRDO, to my mind, and I'm sorry to say this, has been unmitigated failure on almost all aspects.
Watch experts discuss Indian Army's modernization plan in Security Scan on Rajya Sabha Television.
There is generally no drugs available against viral infections. There are very few drugs. We work on Japanese encephalitis virus, and we're trying to figure out how the initiation of the duplication of the genome happens. We also had a little bit of interest on how antibiotics work.
Watch Eureka with Dr. Deepak T. Nair, Associate Professor at Regional Center for Biotechnology at Faridabad, only on Rajya Sabha Television.
Welcome back. Let's get you the latest update on the India-China front. In a second year in a row, China on Thursday again blocked another resolution by the US, France and the UK to list Pakistan-based Jaish-e-Mohammed chief Masood Azhar as a global terrorist by the United Nations. It said that it rejected the move as there was no consensus. China, as a permanent member of the UN Security Council, has veto rights. It has repeatedly blocked India's move to put a ban on Pathankot terror attack mastermind and Jaish-e-Mohammed chief Azhar under the Al-Qaeda Sanctions Committee of the Council. Azhar's Jaish-e-Mohammed is already on the UN's list of banned terror outfits. In August, China had extended its technical hold on the proposal to list Azhar as a global terrorist by 3 months. This meant China could veto the application and allow it to lapse. Undoubtedly, we'll be getting you all the reactions that we'll see tomorrow. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Narendra Modi and US President Donald Trump today pledged to fight against global terrorism together. In a phone call to Trump, Modi condoled the deaths of the recent New York terror attack. The attack had left 8 people dead and about a dozen injured. Meanwhile, in a fresh incident, 3 people were killed in a shooting at a Walmart on Grand Street in suburban Denver.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi and US President Donald Trump have pledged to fight against terrorism together, the White House said in a statement on Thursday. The statement came after Prime Minister Modi spoke with Trump over the phone on Wednesday to offer his condolences over the recent New York terror attack. On Tuesday, 8 people were killed and a dozen injured after a pickup truck rammed into pedestrians in Manhattan.
We welcome and appreciate the strong coalition of all partners in this fight against terrorism globally, and we will continue that fight until we can eliminate this threat to all American citizens and our friends and allies around the world as well.
Meanwhile, US President Donald Trump called for an immediate implementation of tougher extreme vetting procedures. Trump also tweeted that the suspect should receive the death penalty.
It's very simple. What we are demanding is merit-based immigration. We want people that are going to help our country. We want people that are going to keep our country safe. We don't want lotteries where the wrong people are in the lotteries, and we want a merit-based system, and we do not want chain migration.
In another development, the main suspect Saifullah Saipov appeared in court and has been charged with violence and providing material support to the Islamic State. Saipov, an Uzbekistan immigrant, told investigators that he was inspired by Islamic State videos and started planning an attack a year ago. Authorities received 90 IS propaganda videos and 40,000 similar images from his phone.
Just about 24 hours after Saipov's attack, we now have him charged with federal crimes of terrorism. The complaint filed today charges Saipov with 2 counts. First, material support of a terrorist organization, that being ISIS. And second, a federal charge of violence and destruction of a motor vehicle.
Especially important in a case like this. I promise you that how we treat Mr. Saipov in this judicial process will say a lot more about us than it will say about him.
New York City's iconic Empire State Building went dark on Wednesday to honor the victims of the deadly truck attack. A vigil was also held in the Argentine city of Rosario at the high school, whose 5 former students were also killed in the attack.
En realidad, primero me impactó muchísimo, pero más me impactó hoy porque viendo por internet que uno de los muchachos que se salvó es justamente amigo mío. Yo no sabía que él estaba viajando. Se llama Iván Brajkovic.
In a fresh incident, 2 men and a woman were killed on Wednesday night during a shooting at a Walmart supercenter in the Denver suburb of Thornton, a city in the U.S. state of Colorado. A man reportedly fled after entering the store and randomly firing a handgun near the cash register. A manhunt is on to find the culprit. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And here are more updates from across the world in Global Buzz. Myanmar's leader Aung San Suu Kyi today made her first visit to Rakhine State. This was an unannounced trip to the area that has seen large-scale violence. More than 6 lakh Rohingyas have fled to Bangladesh since the Myanmar security forces launched an operation in response to alleged attacks by militants on the 25th of August against 30 police posts and a regimental headquarters. Pakistan's ousted Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif returned to the country today to face corruption case proceedings against him in an accountability court scheduled for Friday. Bailable arrest warrants were issued by the court after he failed to appear before it last month. Nawaz Sharif was in London to be with his wife Kulsum Nawaz, who is undergoing cancer treatment. Meanwhile, former Finance Minister Ishaq Dar has been asked to appear in court on the 8th of November. Iran's Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei has said that the United States is Iran's #1 enemy and Tehran will never succumb to Washington's pressure over a multinational nuclear deal. This comes just weeks after US President Donald Trump refused to formally certify Iran's compliance with the nuclear deal. Iranian officials have repeatedly said that Tehran would stick to the accord as long as the other signatories respected it. Spain's state prosecutor has requested a European arrest warrant for ousted Catalan leader Carles Puigdemont and 4 others over their role in a disputed independence referendum. All 5 had failed to show up at Spain's High Court on accusations of rebellion, sedition and misuse of public funds. Puigdemont's lawyer had earlier said that the climate was not good for him to appear, but assured full cooperation. 9 other sacked members of Catalonia's regional government did turn up for questioning at the court. Prosecutors in Madrid has asked for 8 of them to be jailed over their role following their testimony. On Monday, Spain's chief prosecutor had said that the Catalan leaders were accused of rebellion, which carries a maximum of 30-year jail term, as well as sedition and misuse of funds. That's it on the news tonight. Thanks so much for joining us.